Yeah, very good evening. I have to reschedule my class today for certain reasons. So it's going to be 1.5 hour class, or I will see. It all depends upon the completion of the topic. In geography, as I told you in my previous classes also, contemporary issues mentioned in the last section of paper 2 is the natural disaster and disaster management of paper 3. %90 similarities you will find, but in geography the approach is different. And if you're writing mains with geography optional, then in that case you will have to go into the scientific part of geography, leading with example today. One example is drought. Good evening, Amit Sharma, Swati, Sonali, Shilpa, Prateek, and other names on the screen. I hope you are doing well. And there is a third wave in China, Corona. I don't know what is next to come in India. Carry on with the online classes. Okay. Saksham Setia, Sonali, Deepak, Rajiv, others, thank you. Taking up drought. We are going to learn today drought. Drought and famine, both are interrelated. Famine is in your paper 1 in economic geography, causes and consequences of famine. That's part of your syllabus. And in paper 2 you have drought. Now this topic drought is in the physical section, physical setting of India, and it is also found in the drought prone area program in regional development and planning, and then it is also located in the contemporary issues. So I will take a holistic view of drought and famine because it is covering 4 parts of your syllabus, 4 different, they all have their own significance, they all have their own approach. Geography syllabus looks huge, but actually the syllabus is very limited and things are repeated. The famine in paper 1, the drought in physical setting India, the drought in contemporary issues, the drought prone area program in regional development and planning, dryland area development, dryland agriculture and dryland area development, in agriculture geography. So can you imagine that these 5 topics are more or less the same? They have similar connotations with maybe slight difference in approach, but most of the facts, most of the causes and consequences and the remedies, they all will be more or less the same. Famine is the extreme condition of drought. Repeated, recurrent droughts will bring famine. Similarly, if you are studying drought, it has to be studied in the context of monsoon. That is how it is found in paper 2 part 1, physical setting. So monsoon and drought. How drought in India or drought and flood in India are extremes of monsoon condition. Okay, so as I told you, this topic is so much interesting because it has to be related with the monsoon and the extremities of monsoon. Then it has to be related with the government's program and regional development aspects, DPAP program. Then this topic has to be related with agriculture, dry land agriculture. Final statement. There are 5 topics in your syllabus which will be covered in a span of 2 hours. If our approach is holistic, and we will have a holistic approach today. So we have to relate drought with famine, we have to relate drought with monsoon and monsoon mechanisms, then we have to relate drought with the dryland agriculture, and then under DPAP program, and then as a hazard. So how it causes loss of life, property, etc. All right, I think the idea is clear to you. So the whole idea of learning drought is covering 5 topics in your syllabus. I have told you in the beginning that geography syllabus is not that huge. It all depends upon. Now my old students, I have seen them, they always complain that Alok sir leaves certain topics. He doesn't touch, he doesn't. Sometimes they say that probably he's not prepared for those topics. I'm so shocked. These topics are so trivial. I need not explain anything on drought. ऐसा कुछ नहीं इस topic पे. But still, actually my strategy is to now, as we approach the human and economic geography, my strategy will be to integrate paper 1 and 2. Dryland agriculture and drought and famine and DPAP program, they cannot be studied in isolation. You know, you have to integrate all of them and then see a very comprehensive picture of it, coherent picture of it. Okay, having said that, let's begin with drought. पहले स्ट्रक्चर बना लेते हैं कि ड्रॉट में. So we will have the introduction, the definition, the causes or the factorial analysis of drought, Then types, or you can call it as stages of drought, causes, factors, or stages of drought. Then famine, causes and consequences. Then 6 will be our drought prone area program. And the facts of drought prone area program. So this is how we have to approach. And then the remedies and controls. This will be like drought management. लिखो definition of drought. Right, drought is a hydrological condition. Where evapotranspiration, loss of water, evapotranspiration and drainage exceed the storage of surface and groundwater, so much so that crops and vegetations cannot be sustained, leading to human misery. That is one of the definitions of drought. Now read this definition. This definition to me is very interesting one. Evapotranspiration is accounting for loss of water. So evapotranspiration and drainage and drainage conditions. If this exceeds what? The accumulation of water or a storage of water accumulation of water, meaning there is no water in the hydrosphere, so it will cause loss of vitality from the soil, and the soil cannot sustain agriculture, crops cannot sustain grasslands. So even animal kingdom, even the cropping pattern, even the vegetation, forest cover in general, they are all badly affected. Worst hit will be the crops. Now there is a definition by United Nations Charter. Drought refers to an ecological condition where the local hydrology is not sufficient to sustain the crops and vegetation. High-powered committee on disaster management has defined drought as any lack of water to satisfy the normal needs of agriculture, livestock, industry, and human population. Normal condition of agricultural operations, livestock, industries, and human population may be termed as drought. Meaning in every definition what is coming up is the concern for agriculture and sustenance of crop. So what we are referring to by saying drought, we are relating it with agricultural practices and the economic activities with the soil. Even committee report is saying that industry and human population, even the drinking water or the water which has to be supplied to the industries, even that is not available, even that is a drought situation. So drought has been given much wider meaning, right? From being agricultural drought, we are now referring to the drought situation in industries and urban areas. We are referring to human population. Okay. एक और लिखो drought is a phase of hydrological cycle. Phase नहीं, disruption. Drought is the disruption in the hydrological cycle. Disruption in the hydrological cycle, either due to conditions of rainlessness or fast drainage of water, or lack of irrigation facilities, deficient groundwater, leading to crop failure, and unsustainable agroecology. I want to add something here, little more. देखो, if drought is under consideration, then always the concern for crop failure in every definition, whether it is UN or any definition, IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, or any other department, any report, it is concerned primarily with the crop failure. So here is a new planning commission, not नीति आयोग, पहले ही था, मोदी जी के पहले ही प्लानिंग कमीशन का एक आइडिया था कि if we change the cropping pattern and if we take scientific crop decision on crop selection, then it is possible to at least minimize, at least mitigate the effect of drought. How? I will give you one example. This example was published in Yojana in 2011. I remember it was too long back, but very useful. The article said that in Baghelkhand, the mean rainfall is 90 centimeters. And it falls in the region where we have 25 to 30% annual variability of rainfall. So Baghelkhand can get sometime rain more than 100 centimeters. So people living in Baghelkhand, the farmers of Baghelkhand, can be enticed to have paddy crop because rain is 120 for them. 110 is very good for the rice crop, and rice is a staple crop in India, always in demand. So they can be, attracted towards rice farming, paddy cultivation. Now, one year they succeeded because the rain was good. Second year they managed because there was some water in the river channel and there was some underground water, so they could sustain. But third year, expecting that rainfall will be more or less the same, the region can be hit by severe drought because the rain now this time had negative variability and rain is only 60. Rain is only 70 centimeters. So drought occurred in Baghelkhand. Now if the farmers will make a crop selection of bajra or maybe cotton, and they sow cotton as a kharif crop in that area and only rely on millets and cotton, the crop failure will never take place. Kabhi nahi hoga. And there will be no incidence of drought. So a decision on cropping pattern, crop selection by the farmers can also determine the condition of drought in a given area. This article was very interesting. I shared with you. So we have the definition of drought. Now coming to the stages and the causes of drought, stages, causes, types of drought. So let's work on it. We can show the stages on a graph. Starting with, you will have meteorological drought. This is stage 1. And if meteorological drought, meaning condition of rainlessness, if it is recurrent, then you will have hydrological drought. Then you will have hydrological drought. And if hydrological drought occurs continuously, meaning kya hai, I will explain in a while, then it becomes agricultural drought. Then it becomes socio-economic drought. This is very interesting. Then it becomes famine. Look, your famine has come. Then it becomes famine. Soil moisture drought, then famine. Soil moisture drought. And then it becomes famine. And the consequence of famine will be ecological drought. And from ecological drought you will have desertification. Condition of desertification. And I mean, you have to, this is time on this axis. On the x-axis we have time. So this is time consideration. Stage 1, stage 2, because I had no space on the board, so 4, 5, this is stage 6, this is stage 7, this is stage 8. Have this diagram. And once you have drawn the diagram, let me know. This is time and this is magnitude. So this is a time magnitude graph. In this direction, degree of damage is increasing. Degree of damage is increasing. The severity of drought, severity of conditions, it is also increasing in this fashion. लिखो, फर्स्ट वन इज मीटरोलॉजिकल ड्राउट, डायग्राम बना लिया, कंफर्म करो। इज वीडियो स्टक? चलो, लिखो, मीटरोलॉजिकल ड्राउट रेफर्स टू condition of negative variability in the rainfall, which is calculated by variability of rainfall is equal to standard deviation upon mean into 100. Standard deviation upon mean into 100. Okay, so this is variability of rainfall. मान लो कि the mean rainfall for say Bihar is 100 centimeters and you got 80 centimeter rainfall. So what is the standard deviation? Standard deviation is 20. So the variability will be 20%. है ना? Now same in Baghelkhand, the rainfall, the mean rainfall expected is 90 and the rainfall actually is 81 centimeters. तो 81 सेंटीमीटर रेनफॉल है, तो स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन क्या होगा? 90 माइनस 81 यानी 9 into 100, meaning 10% is the standard deviation. So this is how it is calculated. Variability of rainfall. Okay. Now लिखो, according to IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, meteorological drought is declared when there is more than 75% or more than 75% negative variability of rainfall from the mean annual rainfall. 75% negative variability, then IMD will declare it a condition of meteorological drought. So what is meteorological drought? If there is a negative rainfall, what IMD fixes at? Negative variability shall be 75% to the mean annual rainfall. Then it's a condition of meteorological drought. All right. IMD has further classified drought into following classes, following categories: extremely affected, extremely affected, where the negative variability is greater than or equal to 75% of the annual average rainfall. That will be extremely affected. Right, for example, Western Rajasthan or the most of the drier parts of India can have such variability. So that's extremely affected. Second is severely affected. Severely affected rainfall. Affected areas of drought. So where variability is 50 to 75%. That is severely affected. Rainfall variability shall be 50 to 75%. Then you have moderately affected. That's 25% to 50%. This shall not be equal to. And then you have not affected. If the variability is less than 25%, meaning, लिखो एक लाइन, लिखो the annual variability of 25% has been taken as the criteria for the demarcation of the drought prone area and the flood prone area. So write this criteria. It's very simple classification. Now you have to draw two maps to show the variability, etc., and the distribution of drought. This is your map of India. अब देखो, learn it. This line थोड़ा सा और नीचे आएगा. This is 25 centimeter variability line. And here also there is another 25%, sorry, not centimeter, percent, 25% variability line. And if you see here, this is 20%, so this is 25% variability, and this is also your 20%, and then even this region will be, particularly this region will be even 15% variability. So very low variability along this side. But if you look at Leh Ladakh and these regions, so these regions will have 30, 40, 60%. So they all have very high variability. What is being shown here, if you look at Kerala and Malabar, this will be your 20% variability and this will be your 15% variability. What is being shown now? What is to be understood? What meaning is coming out? Is that wherever you have rainfall more than 200, 250, the variability is less. And where you have rainfall much less, the variability is more. So if you see here, this will be 75% and this is your 60% and then this is your what? Your 40%. This is 40%. Now there is a interesting belt running here which has this is 30% variability. Here also along the coast तो अब देखो ये this region will be 30 to 40% variability, this 25 to 30, this 25 to 20, this 20 to 15, this 75% or more, this 75 to 60, 60 to 40, 40 to 30, 30 and less, sorry, 30 or more. So there is a rainfall variability map. Rainfall variability map of India. All right. Now another map can be drawn. The purpose of the map is to show the drought condition as it exists in our country तो देखो this part and this part, these are the worst hit areas of drought, okay, and so they will be called extremely affected. ये तो है, this is permanent drought, but this is your extremely affected. Extremely affected. What I am doing here, I am going to draw the 100 centimeter ISO height so that you can differentiate that which all areas are not hit by drought. Meteorological drought we are referring to. We are not referring to agricultural drought. We are not referring to any other form of drought. We are referring to the hydrological, meteorological drought. So these are permanent drought. These are extremely affected. And then this belt is also extremely affected. And then you will have severely affected area. So all these places. is severely affected. And then there is another belt roughly running parallel to it. This is your moderately affected. I have changed the color. This is moderately affected, and then this one, the yellow dots, are actually not affected. This is why IMD. So draw these two maps. दो पैच बहुत बड़ा है ये, extremely affected, severely affected. ये कृष्णा गोदावरी डेल्टा है यहाँ पे. Okay, so this is about meteorological drought. Now moving to another coming to the second one. Second one is the hydrological drought. So please write. लिखो, hydrological drought is a condition where the aquifer rocks and aquifer rocks are dried up and the surface water also has been lost due to